Hi, I think it's recording. So let's start. So happy Friday. Today's Friday. And I'm doing this video because I did one yesterday about the scroll letter. And now I want to do one about something that I keep seeing. And like we mentioned before, we're adjusting a lot of things. Yesterday with Christina, we did a few changes on the task tab for you. So now you will see changes there. And I want to say something before I start with the explanation. If you guys do not change the task tab, you will not get paid. So let me repeat it again. If you don't act as soon as you start a transaction, you go all the way to the task and you activate it, which means that you will choose which kind of transaction you're going to start in that transaction, in that task. We are not going to be able to see how you're progressing on the transaction. If transactions doesn't see that until the end, your check cannot be made. So we're finding out that there is transactions that the task has not been changed. So that's what I'm doing this video. So you can all change the task, and you need to go over and not only click, but click and upload, because we will check. And if the documents are not there, we will not be able to make your check. So I'm going to switch the screen so you can see it, and we're going to be able to move really fast. So let me share my screen with you after saying that little clarification, and let me go to my screen. Okay, so I'm here with my transaction, my testing transaction for you guys. Let me move myself from the top to someplace where I don't, there you go. So one of the things that also I see a lot, and this is because the system is created like that, is as soon as you create a transaction, what happens is the name of the transaction, in this case was said transaction for Juan Ignacio Saudino, which is my brother, by the way. So what happens when I receive a check, a deposit, or something? We cannot refer to names, okay? First of all, because you may have a lot of transactions with a client. Like, let's say that you have the transaction, as you know, you're working with him as a buyer and as a seller, and he bought many properties from you. So it would be a little, would be really complicated. So we're still using the same policy that we use with total brokerage. Remember, with total brokerage, we will put the name, and the name of the transaction, it will be the actual address of the transaction we're going to talk about. So I'm going to show you right now. In this case, I'm going to take that out, and I'm going to put, for the purpose of this training, my own address. Okay. Perfect. That's it. And we are going to go and save, because if we don't save the page, nothing gets done. The other thing that is very important, and I'm seeing because I'm actually going to all the transactions, or most of them, to see what is happening and how you guys are working with them, is that I don't see, on the documents part, you might have all the documents there. So that's fine, because this is all the documents that when you start a new transaction and you actually create it, the system will bring them all to you. Okay, but then you have the people. So what is the people? The people is just the buyer's agent, okay, in this case me. You, by now, if you're working with someone on the MLS that you had a listing, you already have the seller's name agent. You need to input it there, okay? So, and then you're gonna go to vendors. Vendors, I spoke to you vendors about yesterday. Vendors is very, very important. Why is important? Because if you wanna have your escrow letter done, as I explained on a little video yesterday, you have to put Tassie, and she will be the only person that will show up when you click on the transaction coordinator and you ask the person. So she will be the only one, but you need to add her there. Otherwise, she will never be able to sign the escrow letter, okay? So, and then of course, is the buyer and the seller. If you have more than one, you will add them with their information. So I have here my brother's, which is actually his name with my email. And as you see, I left Belle with no email. So you see that in this case, I don't have an email. I need to add her. So when I go to people, okay, so you save it there. And that's it, right? So when you go to property, this is something that I also see empty. So remember, you have an MLS number if the property is on the MLS. If it's a brand new listing, you don't have an MLS number. If you do have an MLS number, please put it. For the legal description, you can always go to either the MLS, which you can copy paste, or you can, because we will require in all transactions the IMAP or the tax roll. Why we do that? Because we need to verify and we need to have all the documents ready in case of some discrepancies, okay? So you go on the tax, on the IMAP, print as a PDF, and you can copy the legal description there, as well as the parcel ID and all that. So you fill all these sections, like here you put input country, and you save it. Why? Because you will need the legal address for what? For the escrow letter. You're gonna need the legal address for what? For the contract. So you will need all these informations for the transaction to be able to keep on working. Okay. So now we go to financials. Financials will change, okay, according if you're working with rental or with a sale. So, but we need to put the financials here too for the same case, because if you need an escrow letter, we need to know the money's there. So you put it there. If you're writing a contract, you make the changes on this page and they will reflect on the contract. Because remember, when you start the contract, if you open the file, if you had open already, you will see that those fields are in blue. Blue means that the system is pulling the information from the tabs. So you are not able to add, okay, the financials on the contract itself. You have to add them here and they will reflect on the transactions. Why? Because the system will use these numbers for many other things, like paying you and other issues. So we need to have them in this tab. So that's why it's important that you actually put the information here. When it's a rental, it will ask you for the rent month, and it will ask you probably for the total rent amount. So you need to put all those things. So since I'm already doing this video, I'm going to explain one thing in regards to commission. This is a sales transaction, so I will put here whatever amount is on the MLS, right? Now, this issue has come with the rentals. When you have rentals, some of you do 5%, right? Or I'm sorry, 10%, but some of you do half a month. So when you do the half a month, which is, you're not gonna be able to put it here, because as you can see, here's a percentage. So when you have a rent and it's a half a month, that will be part of your commission, please do not bother about putting anything here. You will put that on your commission tab, okay? So when we go to the commission tab, this is where you put your, in this case, commission. Like let's say that you have a half a month and you know that the month is 2,400, you will put here, literally 1200, okay? So don't worry about what it says about the split or all that, because that is the part in which Tassie knows already, and we have put all of you guys with all your splits in our system, but you need to put that money here. If you don't put the commission income, this is like doing, this part is like doing the commission disbursement, okay? So that's what I'm saying. If you keep putting all the information on your tabs, by the end, the transaction is done, okay? But we need you to do that part. So remember again, once you finish, you need to save. If you don't save, the information does not get recorded. So for dates, I explained that the other day. If you're working with contracts, please put the dates here. The idea of the dates is it will be a reminder for you. You will receive a notification 24 hours prior to expire about the date of, let's say, the inspection or the mortgage contingency. I'm just reading out, and I haven't these dates in here because I'm working with a seller, remember? And we go to activity. So activity is where we communicate, okay? So we communicate through here. So that's why I've been putting notes for you guys on this place, okay? I get notified if I am below here. If you put my name here, I will be notified. If you Christina or Tatiana, we will get notified, and I get a lot of emails on my desk, so I can see all the transactions and I get all the changes that you do. So sometimes if I don't answer, it's because I cannot answer that part of the transaction, okay? My job is to get an overview, what are you guys doing, especially Brickle, but for other communications, you need to have the person that you're communicating with, and then needs to take action on this thing. So, and again, we're going to task, and I wanted to show you, like I just changed this on purpose, but you see, this is how it looks. So we made it shorter. This is the seller part. So you will need a property tax, which is the IMAP, and then you will have it on there. So because once we get into your transaction to be able to make your check, we will check that, first of all, this thing has to be all the way to the end. The only way it's going to be all the way to the end is if you keep clicking and having those documents. Because when we review to write your check, we go over to see that everything that has been checked is on there. okay? So here, same thing, if you have a listing agreement, it will not allow you because you have to put it here. So you have to put it the executed listing agreement or the disclosure or whatever, and then the MLS active, and then, you know, you keep on moving, et cetera, all the way till you get to the end, as you get to check request, I'm sorry. So, but every here, you see here, if it's a sales, you have to have your HUD. If you don't have the HUD, we're not gonna see it. So I need you to pay attention to the task. Please change it. For the purpose of this video, I wanted to show you that this is the seller side. I'm going to show you how the buyer looks because it looks different. So the buyer looks a little different, and you have all these bypassing situations. The bypassing situations, what this mean is in case that you don't need inspection report, again, because you're working with a buyer, but you know, he doesn't want to do inspection report, so you might cancel that, okay? So you bypass it. If the survey is not needed, you will bypass it too. So once they're bypassed, you don't need to have it. As you see, they disappear from here, so there's not something that you have to do yes or yes. The proof of ownership, this is in case that you have it with a corporation. If you're not working with a corporation, don't worry about this and just bypass it too, okay? If you're working with a corporation, you need to submit where you can see the name of the corporation and the name of the owner, which is the person that is signing. That is why this is there. So I wanted to explain that. I wanted to explain why you have the bypass situation, because like, again, if I'm working with a buyer, okay, I can ask the listing agent to change the MLS, but I'm not in control of when he's gonna change it, okay? So I will ask the person to change it, but I bypass it because it's not mandatory to me as working with a buyer, okay? So now I'm gonna change it again, so for you to see what happens with the landlord. When you have a landlord, look at this. It happens and it changes again. You have a lot of the bypassing situations, you know, and then you keep on going. One of the things, we all did this with Christina yesterday, adjusting based on what we need and what we are trying the system not to make us do. So it got shorter, okay? And it's like, still like, but with the documents that are needed. That's what I needed to understand, they're needed. If you do not click and don't have them upload, we will not be able to write your check. So please pay attention to that. And the one that I'm very excited because we put that is the rental community. I have some of you that are working with rental communities, so your task is a lot shorter. It's a lot shorter. You just need to have the lease agreement by the community, and you need to have an invoice request. The invoice request, which was asked to me, you need to ask for that on the task, on the activity. That's how you communicate with TASI. You need to say, hey, I need an invoice for this property. Please find that the lease agreement is already checked, okay? So, and of course we will notify you, we'll send you know, if you're in Brickell, I will let you know when your check is ready for commission as soon as we receive it from the rental community. So I don't want to take more of your time. These videos are supposed to be short. Thank you for watching. And until next, if you have any other questions, any other inquiries, please let us know, Christina, myself, especially me, so Christina's busy with other things. And we will keep doing these videos and we will keep working to make this the best system for you. Thank you and have a great day. Bye.